Well, Matt, thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation. I've heard nothing but good things about you from Albert Wong, the director of JA Ottawa, as well as Christina Price, who's a program manager for JA Ottawa. They mentioned that you volunteered in the classroom with a friend in their day programs for elementary students. You participated in speed mentoring type stuff with high school students. You provided food for a JA Ottawa event. And you also are a JA Ottawa ambassador. So you
Yes.
have, we're very appreciative of you, and we're very appreciative of you taking the time to speak with us today. We know you're already an inspiration, and so we know that this talk will inspire young entrepreneurs and students participating in the JA Company program.
Amazing. Very much appreciated for the kind words. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's get started. I guess we'll start from the very beginning. How did the idea for Meetings Barbecue first start?
Wow. So back in 2010, I actually dropped out of university, went to UNB in New Brunswick, and at the time, it just wasn't working for me. I was kind of a lost puppy and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So I ended up moving back home to Ottawa with my dad, and working some part-time jobs here and there, trying to figure out my life and what my destiny was going to be. And he actually ended up getting a smoker in the summertime, and I started playing around with it. So there was this show on YouTube called Epic Mealtime, where these guys from Montreal would get together and create these kind of epic meals. So I would then try and recreate said meals on the weekend, invite some of my friends over to my dad's house, go to the local butcher shop, and try and make an epic meal of sorts. And so I did that. I kept on doing that almost every weekend, every couple of weekends in the summertime. And one of my first aha moments was, a bunch of boisterous, loud, obnoxious guys in the backyard having fun, and then them sitting down and me putting the food out onto the table, and the silence that ensued after that. For a couple of minutes, it was just like, wow, I haven't heard this kind of silence around these guys in a minute since high school classes. And then after the meal was done, the feedback that I got, and the hugs, and the excitement and joy that I saw in their faces, and something just happened inside of me where I got this feeling like, wow, this is incredible. I haven't felt this since my younger days of playing sports, and it was just something incredible that fueled my soul, and made me happy. And so I continued to do that, and then my dad and I did a pig roast in our front yard. We rented a big oil drum, bicycle wheel, and a dryer motor to power it. And we had a pig roast, and we had a bunch of family and friends over. And that's when people started asking me and my dad at the time if we could go out and bring this machine and bring it to their house and cook for, a friend's parents' anniversary party, someone's birthday party. There was like 4 or 5 people that were asking me. And I said, kind of deer in the headlights. What do you mean you want to hire me? Like I didn't really understand that concept. I was new to that whole experience. And then looking at this big oil drum that we had, it wasn't really feasible to transport that around place to place, and it wasn't something I was proud of. It was kind of ugly in a sense. And then a couple of weeks later, I was watching Dragon's Den. At the time, it was a very popular and interesting show. And of course, there's a company from St. Catharines, Ontario, that comes on, and they pull along this beautiful stainless steel pig roaster.
Oh.
And I said, that's pretty interesting. They were talking about their business model, about franchising, about how they've patented this machine basically. And it was, like I said, the guy was just rolling it with one hand. So a lot easier than the 4 guys it took to lift the machine that my dad and I used. And, I thought it was pretty interesting. And then I go to Google them, find their website, see that they go on tour. And it just so happened a couple of weeks later, they were doing a demo in Ottawa at a barbecue store in Canada. So I went and met with them, kind of told them, my passion for food and entertaining, it has kind of started developing over the past summer, and the feedback that I was getting. Then I explained to them I'm not a chef. I, no culinary professional experience, but they reassured me that they had a lot of clients that were purchasing this machine and were able to start businesses and growing businesses. And I said, come on down to St. Catharines for a weekend, and we'll push you up in our place and take you out to an event and show you how everything works. So I ended up doing that. Went down there, and was blown away by the whole experience. And they took me out to an event and put me in the chef jacket. And one of my other aha moments was when I was helping their chef kind of carve the pig, figure things out. And then I look up, and there's the lineup of probably like 100 people in line,
Wow.
all waiting to come and get this. So I was like, wow, okay, there's a demand for this. It's not just my friends back home that that love food. There's other people that are interested in this concept of the pig roast. And so, I kind of fell in love with that whole experience and came back home and told my dad, hey, dad, I want to buy this pig roaster. Obviously, I didn't have that much money at the time. I think it was like $5,000 to buy this piece of equipment. And, as a 21-year-old university dropout, the bank account's a little bit lean at that time. And so, he kind of shut down that idea. He said, it's a great idea, it's cool, but no one's going to actually hire you outside of your family and friends. Who's going to actually trust you to go and cook for their party, their event? And I said, okay, but I was very persistent. I kept on following up with the company in St. Catharines and watching YouTube videos and all this kind of stuff, and still cooking for friends. And so I kept on pestering my dad, please, 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 please. And then finally one day he said, you know what, I see the passion that you have behind this, and I know your characteristics and your hard work. So I'm willing to make a deal with you. You sell your car, buy this pig roaster. I'll let you use my truck for the first year to basically haul it around and go and do the supposed proposed parties that I had in mind. And so he believed in me, and we did it. I ended up selling my car for a little bit over what the price of the pig roaster was. Then I bought a little trailer and basically conceptualized this business called Meetings, which is what it is today. So the idea at the start was I would be the host of the party because I loved kind of entertaining and making sure people are having a good time. And I'd bring the pig and beer. So I partnered with a local brewery, Bo's Brewery. And then I made a bunch of outdoor games like lawn games, like washer toss and cornhole and whatnot. And so then the summer of 2012 in May, I held my first meeting at my dad's house, invited a bunch of family and friends over, and put on a big feast. And that's when people started really dialing it in and asking me to provide this experience for them. So one of the first events that I got asked for was an anniversary party. Then it was a corporate event, and all these people started asking me. And I was kind of getting overwhelmed, but I was so excited at the time. And then, as I mentioned, partnered with Bo's Brewery, and someone from Bo's Brewery was getting married in the fall, and they asked if I could cater the wedding.
Wow.
And at the time, I was just doing the pig and the games. I was not thinking of what a full catered meal would entail. And they asked if I could do salads and side dishes and tables and chairs and tents. And in the meeting with them, I was just, caught up in the moment. I was like, yeah, of course I could do that. Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, the brain's just going in the back. Oh shoot, how am I going to pull this off? And then get back home, called up grandma and grandpa. Hey, what do you guys think about making salads for 100 people? And kind of got the same reaction, a little bit of a giggle and laugh. And but we ended up pulling it off. My dad and I went out. I brought a couple friends. We brought the grills. We brought the roaster. We rented a grill from a local rental company. I rented the tables, the chairs, the tent, the full ordeal, and it was amazing. The feedback there was even better to be able to feed strangers instead of just my family and friends, and get that validation. And someone that was there was getting married the next year, so took a business card and then reached out, and then we ended up booking the wedding for next year, and then 11 years later, here we are. It's kind of been a crazy snowball effect of us, growing from a catering company. And then we opened our first restaurant in 2017. Just the demand, so many people that had our food or hadn't had our food, but had seen it on social media. And was like, Matt, how do I get your food without having, 50 people to have the pig roast come? And so I'm like, okay. And obviously catering barbecue style in the climate that we're in here, is predominantly May to October. So when November came, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do for a business to keep myself afloat? And I had tried a couple of different fun things. I actually rented a ice fishing pad at Peachtree Island.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, set up there for the winter, serving food to all the people that were fishing. And then the idea for a restaurant kind of came about, and then we opened our first restaurant. And we've expanded to a few different locations now. We have our big 200-seat restaurant in the hockey arena at Richcraft Sensplex in the East End here. We serve our food at a brewery, Broadhead Brewery, and we have retail products kind of all over the city now. And it's crazy.
That is amazing. I love that you take all the challenges and you just roll with it. Like, you're very creative and innovative. That's amazing. Which kind of leads to how do you deal with fear and doubt? Like when somebody doubts you or they question you, or when you're presented with an opportunity that like the catering, which wasn't something you had previously thought of. How do you deal with those? What are your tips for dealing with fear, doubt, and new challenges?
Yeah, so I would say top three things would probably be family and friends. You need a soundboard to bounce all these crazy ideas that I had in my head off of people to get feedback. And so yeah, my friend group was instrumental in that. Fortunately, I had some other friends who were entrepreneurs as well. One of my best friends got into the digital media marketing industry, and I had a friend who started a construction company, another one who started a scarf company. So we would get together often and talk and kind of brainstorm and get feedback, and so that was a huge component to it. And then over the years, meditation. So getting into meditation and just doing some introspective thinking and just allowing thoughts to come and go, and developing a lot more self-confidence through that has been another big tool for me. But definitely family, friends, and then mentors too. So it was a big part of me developing, being an entrepreneur, and what does that entail, and how do I grow, and how do I handle these things. So reached out to people that were either in my industry or just business owners, so I knew in their 40s and their 50s, who obviously had more years of experience than me, and just was kind of an open book, and tried to converse and ask questions and push and prod and try and get as much info as I could out of them, and that was huge. That was instrumental in the growth and dealing with that, like you said, the fear and the doubt, because it's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy. I had such a hard time at the start. One of the hardest things I struggled with was pricing myself. How do you put a price tag on your time and your effort? And at the time, it was like my dad said, you don't have a culinary degree or anything. You're not a chef. You can't say like, hey, oh, this is what a chef charges. I was just, a backyard barbecue guy. And then, trying to test the market and say, okay, well, is my time worth $15 an hour? And how much is this whole product worth? And yeah, so it was a lot of that at the start. But like I said, through the people around me, surrounding myself with good people was huge.
That's amazing. So when you first opened your doors, I guess probably on the restaurant side of things, and as your business grew, how did you market your business?
So word of mouth was obviously a big one. Every time that we did an event, there's obviously a group of people there. So, if I did a good job, I would know that hopefully, somebody else here was going to have some kind of event. We all have, birthday parties. I did a lot of bachelor parties in my infancy days. We still do. And yeah, so I would just make sure that, I was doing a great job. And then I always had business cards. We got our tents branded. So having a friend in marketing was really huge too, because we
Yeah.
talked a lot about that. How do we get exposure? How do we get the brand out? How do you create a brand that's gonna mean something to people and resonate with people? And then I had a truck and trailer, obviously, so I put lettering all over the truck and trailer. So whenever I would get requests in on the website for events, they would always say like, "Hey, well, how'd you hear about this?" And your truck, seeing your truck on the road, that was a huge part of
Oh,
it. So yeah, it was. Combination of those things, and then social media, obviously Facebook and Instagram was kind of in its infancy days then. And so yeah, I had a little business page and food photography. In the early foodie days, I was taking
yes,
pictures of the
it was
food and the
big. Yeah.
process and everything, and just getting people excited and getting people hungry. So that was another big component.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You mentioned earlier about meditation and relying on that. Is there any other ways that you've grown personally, or skills or things that you might not have done before that you've learned from being an entrepreneur?
100%. So one of the things that I think has been instrumental in our growth as a company was me being able to delegate. As an entrepreneur, you're so tight knit with all of your ideas and your recipes and everything, and it's hard to let go and try and allow other people to take on responsibilities in your business when you just want to be the guy. I wanted to do everything, right? I'm cleaning the pig roaster. I'm going shopping for food. I'm trying to do everything, and then as I evolved and wanted to grow, I realized, okay, I'm at a capacity now where I can't do everything. It's overwhelming. I'm missing out on emails and phone calls. So bringing in other talented people that either had characteristics that I didn't have or skill sets that I didn't have. And then also at a point of things that I didn't want to do anymore. I didn't want to be cleaning the roasters all the time. So, and then even just answering emails, like I was never a big guy who's sitting behind the computer and typing up emails and doing like that. I like to be in the forefront of everything and be facing customers all the time. So delegating was a huge part, and trusting other people that believed in what I was doing and wanted to help and support, and had the same kind of vision and bought into what I was trying to do and accomplish. So that was huge. Being compassionate, with staff, with employees, with customers. Was another huge part, and organization. I was never a very organized person, but again, through mentors and through friends, I've learned to become a lot more organized as the business grows. We're up to almost like 50, 60 employees right now.
Great.
So
Oh,
it's a lot more than just me, like I said, trying to do everything myself, and notepads all over the place and scatterbrained. So I've picked up some tools and tricks along the way that have helped me, because yeah, when you get to this scale, it's there's a lot of moving pieces going on, and staying
that's
on top of things and being organized and sticking to your Google Calendar
thank goodness for that.
is pretty yeah, I know, right? So it's yeah, so I was thinking those are some of the big ones for sure.
That's amazing. So you talk about hiring based on complementary skills and figuring out what you don't want to do anymore and hiring for that. But so when you do hire someone for your team, what do you look for in that person?
Um, and yeah, it's kind of evolved from there too, because obviously skills are very important, but I've had a lot of talented people that have come in here that don't fit the mold. So like some of the three or four top things I would say is passion. Obviously, you have to have a passion for food, for people, making people excited, making people feel, welcomed and happy. Um, Hard work. It's not an easy business. It's not a glamorous business all the time. There's greasy things that you've got to clean up. There's hours, weddings, when we go cater a wedding, sometimes we're on site for 10, 12 hours, plus the prep that you have to do, plus the cleanup after. So, someone who's sitting around on their phone or, kind of being lackadaisy, when you're in a team atmosphere, that
Yeah.
resonates with everybody, right? Everybody's there working hard, and then you have one person off to the side who's kind of slacking off a bit. It affects the whole team. So hard work is a huge thing. Attitude, obviously, positive attitude, willingness to learn, and then dedication. So we always want people. We treat our business like a family, like a team.
Amazing.
So making sure that everyone is dedicated to each other and to the concept, to the goals, to the missions that we have is instrumental. And then now with the team that we have so many talented players here that the skill set can be taught. We have, executive chef, we have culinary directors, we have operations managers. So we have, I think, almost all of the skills that we need. So if we can bring in people underneath them and people that are willing to learn, that are hardworking, that are dedicated, then the skills can come after that.
That's amazing. So I'm going to rein it back into the Junior Achievement JA Ottawa program. So if you had one piece of advice for a high school level entrepreneur, what would it be?
Wow. I'd say just try and go out and talk to people that are entrepreneurs. That's what one of the great things about Jay is being able to go in there, and the feedback that I get from a lot of the students is like, wow, I didn't know that this is a possible career path. Wow, I didn't know that this was what our business was like. I didn't know that, for me growing up when I was in high school, I always thought of business, the guy in the suit and the tie and coming in all properly dressed. And then when I would come in, I'm pretty casual with a plaid and the ball cap and the sneakers. But yeah, I still run, a huge operation, but it's not necessarily just the I don't want to say cut and dry, but the not boring, but there's a prototypical businessman, but that's not necessarily what else is out there. There's a lot of other opportunities. There's different kinds of industries that you can get into, and the biggest thing is following your passion, and also just developing passion. A lot of the kids at that age don't even know what their passion is yet. So I
Right.
try to tell them, you got to go and experiment. People think that, oh, I'm born with this passion. But for me, like I learned it, I figured it out. Okay, through trial and error, different experiences. And then, like I said, back to the times when I was on the back deck and the silence happened. Like that was something I feeling that I hadn't felt before. And then realizing that, oh, wow, I can actually make a business out of this. That's actually, and it's building on this passion that I'm developing over time, was huge. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome. So if there was a mentor or student thinking of getting involved in the JA program, what would you say is the biggest benefit as a mentor and a student?
As a mentor, I feel like a lot of people who are, well, not a lot, most people that are in entrepreneurship are obviously passionate, and sharing these kinds of experiences for the future generation, the future entrepreneurs, is something that's so exciting. So doing these going to see these classes and these students and seeing the projects that they're working on, and just trying to provide some insight and guidance. And running a business is crazy and has a multitude of different aspects. So any kind of insight, any tips and tricks that you can provide along the way, and seeing these kids kind of soak it up and actually put it to use in their business plans and their pitches that they were doing, it was like, wow, that's like, it's fueling for the soul, because we put in so many hard hours and at work, and you kind of get lost in it. But then you step back and see other people who are flourishing, and someone that you've had an impact on is an incredible feeling.
That's
And
awesome.
then from the student part, it's again just going back to seeing the different types of businesses and entrepreneurs and business professionals that are out there is very eye-opening, because when you're in school, you're taught math, science, English, the very traditional kind of curriculum. And when you have these kind of mentors come in, it can really open the kids' eyes up to the different possibilities that are out there. It's not just a doctor, a lawyer, a fireman, a policeman, the things that we're growing up thinking that that's what I have to be when I grow up. But there's so many, as you know, so many jobs and so many different positions out there that can be fulfilled. So it's really neat for the kids to be able to see that, I found. And it was and then obviously it's a lot of young people too. So it's I felt that I was able to resonate a lot with the younger kids.
That's great.
Being somewhat close to their age, I'm a young kid at heart still.
Absolutely. And I understand you hired a JA student after mentoring them in the JA virtual program. What led to that decision?
Samuel, he's amazing. He he was in one of the classes that I was speaking with, and I remember having a couple of conversations with him. And then his resume came in, and he said, "Oh, I was in Mat Flosse's JA class, and as soon as he came to this class, I realized I want to work for this guy. I want to be like him." I was like, "That's
Amazing.
again, heartwarming feelings." And every time I see him, "Hi, Mat Flosse, how are you? Good to see you. How are things?" Like, he's just such a polite guy, such a hard worker, and he's already saying, he has to say to our managers, how do I eventually get to be a manager here? Like, what do I have to do to be a
Wow.
manager?" And it's like a 15-year-old kid is asking these
Oh my
questions.
goodness.
It's like it's incredible. It's incredible. So that was a pretty cool feeling. And then now, as soon as that happened, all my manager's like, "Man, Matt, you got to get back out with JA. Get back out with JA. Let's get some more future grill masters or
Yeah.
operations guys or servers, whatever it is." Because it's it's fun to get people in the family as they're younger, and it was his first job too, so that was pretty cool. So I feel like we're making an impact on him, and we still have some great conversations, and it's very cool.
That's amazing. I love that. I love hearing the stories and the inspiration. He's obviously passionate, and you've obviously made quite the impact and influence on him. So that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
very cool.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about the JA program? Any last tips of advice for anybody thinking of starting their own business or getting involved in Junior Achievement Ottawa?
Well, starting your own business, do it. It's like an incredible feeling, extremely fulfilling, and you're able to create your own lifestyle, which is something that's pretty special. After putting in the time and the hard work, and then after building the team, it's like, okay, I can now step back a little bit, and I can maybe take a vacation when I want to, or take time off, or spend time with family, and all these kinds of things that are privileges of being an entrepreneur and being your own boss. And it's an incredible feeling. And the JA program is, like I said, it's incredible from both sides, from the students and for the mentors. um, I've had nothing but amazing times. I love going to the classes. I love going to schools and talking to the kids, and going to the Ottawa Entrepreneurship Center and be able to provide food for them, and everything. It's a great program, and I can't wait to keep being a part of it and evolving, and seeing where the program can go and how I can help out more. And it's very exciting, very rewarding.
That's amazing. Well, we appreciate you very much, and thank you so much again for your involvement and participation in JA Ottawa, as well as agreeing to this interview today so we can share all your wealth of knowledge with a wider audience. We really appreciate
Uh,
it.
my pleasure for sure.
Thanks so much.
Anytime, anytime.